Mayor Mike Bloomberg, yes. Governor Pataki, yes. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, yes. Lieutenant Governor
A lot of
Mary
people in
Dyer.
public office have smoked marijuana. It's not surprising.
Hello. I'm of an age where I figure I don't bother you, you don't bother me. It's a good life. So every now and then I have a glass of wine, and every now and then I smoke some marijuana. It relaxes me, and I can get arrested for that.
With a pair of 60-second radio commercials, one full-page newspaper ad, and billboards on Manhattan phone booths in the back of New York City buses, the NORML Foundation launched a national media frenzy.
Readers of the New York Times woke up this morning to find a full-page ad depicting their mayor as a poster boy for loosening the city's drug laws. The ad, placed by a pro-marijuana advocacy group, shows Mike Bloomberg admitting he smoked marijuana. It was a statement he made a year ago before he was ever mayor. NBC News correspondent Rahima Ellis has the story.
New York's Mayor Michael Bloomberg knew the job would put him in the spotlight, but he never figured he'd be pictured like this. A full-page ad in today's New York Times, paid for by NORML, a group pushing marijuana reform. The quote comes from an interview Bloomberg gave while campaigning for office. Asked if he had ever smoked pot, "You bet I did," he said, "and I enjoyed it."
Do I, in retrospect, wish I didn't say it that day so they couldn't quote it? Of course.
Now the mayor has been turned into the poster boy for a $500,000 ad campaign unveiled today, calling on police to not arrest recreational marijuana smokers. The ads may appear on New York City buses, subway stations, as well as in newspapers and on the radio.
Friends of New York's new mayor have long said Michael Bloomberg is not as buttoned down as he seems. Now they have proof. Supporters of liberal marijuana laws ran ads quoting Bloomberg when he was asked last year about using the drug. "You bet I did," he said, "and I enjoyed it."
And now here's some of the scoop on some people making news. In an interview before he became New York's mayor, Michael Bloomberg was asked if he'd ever used marijuana. Now a pro-pot group is running ads featuring his quoted response, quote, "You bet I did, and I enjoyed it." Asked about the ads, Mayor Bloomberg has offered a new quote, quote, "I'm not thrilled."
And finally, the words of New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg have come back to haunt him. Before he was elected last year, he was asked whether he ever smoked pot. His answer, quote, "You bet I did, and I enjoyed it," is now part of an ad campaign by the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. Bloomberg says he's against legalizing marijuana.
And New York City's mayor probably wishes today that a comment he made last year had gone up in smoke. A group that supports the legalization of marijuana has launched an ad campaign featuring a quote from Michael Bloomberg. He was asked if he'd ever tried it. Bloomberg's answer, quote, "You bet I did, and I enjoyed it." It's now featured in a full-page New York Times ad today. The mayor says he's not happy the group is using his name. It's now 5 minutes after the hour.
Well, he said he wasn't a professional politician, but today New York's new mayor, Mike Bloomberg, learned a political lesson. Last year, when a reporter asked him if he ever smoked pot, candidate Bloomberg said, "You bet I did, and I enjoyed it." Well, wouldn't you know it, that quote made him the poster boy today in a full-page ad in the New York Times run by a group that favors legalizing marijuana. The mayor said he's not thrilled, but believes in free speech and enforcing drug laws. Now he's talking like a real politician.
This was more than just a story about one politician. The assertion that it's normal to smoke pot placed the unfairness of our nation's marijuana laws front and center on the national media agenda.
Put marijuana on the same level as crack.
Thank you.
As heroin.
How about alcohol?
LSD or alcohol.
Thank you.
I think alcohol is less dangerous.
I think you're foolish about that.
No, I believe
alcohol causes
100,000
deaths a year, and marijuana's never killed a person. You cannot die from an overdose of marijuana.
I would disagree, because it's a gateway drug. When they tried marijuana and then they moved to crack and heroin and die, I would argue that marijuana contributed to the death.
You truly have bought the reefer madness mentality.
No, it's not reefer madness. Look, but let me make my point. I don't really care about that issue so much as, you know something, little kids are going to see the mayor of New York City endorsing marijuana. No, doesn't that bother you at all? Do you care about kids?
I do indeed care about kids.
Want them to smoke pot?
No, I don't. One thing that we say, the first principle of responsible cannabis use is cannabis is not for kids.
But when they see a mayor of a big city, that says, hey, I liked it. I'm glad I did it.
No, look.
Because you put an ad out,
wait a
they're
minute.
going to think it's okay.
2 points here. You certainly are not suggesting we should lie to kids, that that's the policy. But
what I am certainly suggesting is you don't have to take the mayor and stick it in their face.
Wait a second. Are you suggesting that we want to dumb down America to where adults can't do anything that's inappropriate for kids?
Let me put up on the screen.
Yeah,
some of the people who claim...
Like Governor
admitted,
Pataki, maybe?
Well, let's take a look. We have Bill Clinton. No surprise, I guess, a lot of people. You got Connie Mack, and you got Bill Bradley, and you got George Pataki and Al Gore. And
Justice Ginsburg.
Douglas Ginsburg never got to the Supreme Court because of this.
That's right.
Wait, you got to take Bill Clinton down. He didn't inhale. That doesn't count.
I think
that doesn't count.
It would be called waiting to exhale.
Now,
but look, I mean, Clarence Thomas.
That's right.
That's why they call it the High Court. Why? I mean, it doesn't seem to be. Well, thank you.
The point we were trying to make is it's no big deal to smoke marijuana. Now, the problem is that you arrested 52,000 New Yorkers last year for doing the same thing. We can't have a double...
1,000 a week.
Yeah, we can't have a double standard adjustment.
Seems like a good question, but no. You know, the people of New York voted for a mayor who fully confessed to the public, and that's a decision that they made. Good for the people of New York.
There's no law for an age cutoff.
Well, but I mean, I guess he's making the same point, though. How can Mayor Bloomberg...
Because there's no law. Can you understand?
They make the laws, Bob. They can pass a new law if they want to. They're the Congress.
Yeah, you know...
I'll tell you another question.
I think that that most people in this country do not want it to be a crime or even an infraction to smoke marijuana. But the problem is the politicians have been chickened. They are afraid to take that position, that the laws should be changed, so that the pressure has to be put on them to do that. And NORML is just, taking political advantage of what the mayor said. And if he didn't want it to be used against him, then he should never have said it in the first place.
Hey, Mark, what about it?
Well, this is frightening, and it's frightening because I agree with Gloria. This does happen occasionally.
Well, we don't want this to happen.
Yeah, but it unfortunately is. Mr. Bloomberg, Mayor Bloomberg deserves this. We've gone from President Clinton saying I smoked but didn't inhale to I enjoyed it. That was irresponsible. I happen to agree with Gloria. I think marijuana is fairly benign, but we've spent years trying to keep kids from doing drugs, and especially marijuana. I think it is dangerous to them, how it affects their memory when they're trying to, at a time in their life when they need to learn. He did not have to add that I enjoyed it, and if he did enjoy it, why isn't he joining in with NORML in the fight to either legalize or to criminalize?
It should be pointed out that Bloomberg is not alone here. You have none other than Newt Gingrich over the past few years saying he did it. You have Bill Bradley saying he did it. You have Al Gore saying that he and his wife did it. The point I guess I'm trying to make is this is a difficult issue for parents. You know, a lot of parents who came up in the age of Aquarius and probably did drugs really strongly consider lying to their children when their children ask them about it.
Yeah, and I don't think lying is ever a good thing. And by the way, Justice Clarence Thomas on the United States Supreme Court said that he did it. And also Republican Governor George Pataki did it. So it cuts across political lines and age lines. And as the parents lying, I never think it's good to lie to your own kids. But I do think you should emphasize responsible behavior, not taking behavior to an excess that hurts you.
Gloria Allred and Mark Taylor, thanks so much for being with us this afternoon. We're going to have to end it there. The buzz on the dial today. Gloria and Mark, thanks.
Joining us now from Washington is the Executive Director of NORML, Keith Straub. Mr. Straub, new statistics say that 60% of teenagers in drug rehab right now in America have a primary marijuana diagnosis, and 76% of all drug-involved Americans started with pot. What say you about that?
Well, on the first point, I agree with you. Marijuana is not for kids. I think most people do agree with that. There are all kinds of things we permit in our society for adults to do, but we don't permit kids. For example, skydiving and motorcycle riding and signing contracts and getting married and smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol. So it's perfectly fine for us to discourage the use of marijuana for kids. That does not mean we should arrest adults who smoke marijuana responsibly.
Of course, the late-night comics couldn't resist having their say, too.
Or pot. As a group called the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, or our audience, has launched an advertising campaign featuring the New York mayor, who not only admitted to smoking marijuana, but told a reporter, quote, "You bet I did, and I enjoyed it." The mayor took that boast a step further during his recent mayoral campaign, promising to take the Big Apple and make a bong out of it. NORML's push comes on the heels of a massive increase in misdemeanor pot arrests here in New York. In 1992, 702 people were busted for smoking in city streets or parks. By 1999, that number had grown to 33,471. So, ladies and gentlemen, the audience narc.
This has been all over New York and the East Coast. I don't know if you've seen this new ad featuring New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg. It's from the pro-marijuana people. And he actually said how much he enjoyed smoking a pot. Take a look at the ad. This is the actual ad appearing. It's from NORML, you know those drug people? He said, they asked him if he liked it. He said, you bet I did. I enjoyed it. Which means it's now time for Mayor Bloomberg's pot smoking tip of the day. Okay, there we go. Today's pot smoking tip. Listening to the Backstreet Boys while high will harsh your buzz. Remember that. There you go right there. Little tip. Thank you. We have an excellent show today. Terrific show. This is a strange day here in the city, though. It is amazingly hot, is it not? It was hot. You can't see the crowd's all wearing T-shirts in there, and they're all soaked through. No, it's really hot out there for April. It's amazing. Yeah, there's apparently a heat wave on the East Coast, very unusual for this time of year. And in New York City today, it reached 90 degrees. Did you know that? Yeah, apparently the heat was so bad that it wiped out Mayor Bloomberg's marijuana crop. It's gone. He has to... He's mad.
This Mayor Bloomberg, I want to tell you, I wouldn't give this guy's troubles to a monkey on a rock. Now there's some kind of a controversy where he said that he smoked marijuana and enjoyed it. Smoked marijuana and... I wonder if this has anything to do with him leaving town every weekend. The mayor said he's not going to be bothered by this controversy about the marijuana, and he's just going to continue to work as hard as he can to try and get fish back together. That's what he said. That's what he's trying to do. He's not going to let it...
How about this one? Oh, well, I was asked at the first beginning of my campaign, had I ever tried marijuana. I, like I assume most people my age, did in I came to New York in the early 70s. You said? You bet I did, and I enjoyed it. Probably did say exactly that. It was quoted, and now there's some pro-marijuana group. You know, I could go fight them, lose in court to try to get them to stop using my picture, or I can just hope it goes away. But between you and David Letterman, then it's not going away quickly. No, sir.
With a tiny budget by advertising standards, the NORML Foundation's New York campaign reached tens of millions of Americans with the message that it's normal for adult Americans to smoke pot responsibly, whether you're the mayor of New York or just a private citizen. Your support helps make these kinds of projects possible. Just imagine what the NORML Foundation could do with more resources. Thank you for your support of the NORML Foundation and marijuana law reform.
Mayor Mike Bloomberg, yes. Governor Pataki, yes. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, yes. Lieutenant Governor
A lot of
Mary
people in public office have smoked marijuana. It's not surprising. More than a third of adult Americans have tried pot. What was surprising and refreshing was our mayor's honest answer when asked if he had ever smoked pot. He said, "You bet I did, and I enjoyed it." And we applaud his honesty. But even though it's normal to smoke pot, in New York City we arrest more than 50,000 people a year just for smoking pot. A lot of them spend time in jail. We don't arrest responsible drinkers. After September 11th, with decreased police manpower, shouldn't we get our priorities straight? If you think it's wrong to arrest people for doing something normal, log on to NORML.org. That's NORML.org. This message was paid for by NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws Foundation.
Hello. I'm of an age where I figure I don't bother you, you don't bother me. It's a good life. So every now and then I have a glass of wine, and every now and then I smoke some marijuana. It relaxes me, and I can get arrested for that. I read where in New York City they arrest 50,000 people a year for smoking pot. Some go to jail. I mean, that is crazy. Muggings, yes. Murder, yes. But pot? Please. More than a third of adults in this country say they smoke pot. The mayor has smoked it. He said he enjoyed it. It's normal. Now, kids shouldn't smoke anything, and if you don't smoke pot, fine. But let's not arrest people for doing something normal. Next thing, they'll make chopped liver illegal.
If you think it's normal to smoke pot, log on to NORML.org. That's NORML.org. This message was paid for by NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws Foundation.